Ugh. 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 Hello, and welcome to Literature Masterclass with me, Peterbulosis. This week I thought we might take a break from our analysis of Mice and Men, because I've had something on my mind recently. You may have seen examples of many poets or writers purporting to be a modern Shakespeare, but to be honest, I've never seen anyone quite at his level. I mean, Shakespeare's up here, he's like the bomb, and everyone else is down here. They just don't quite come close. Well, that is what I thought until I discovered this man. I actually discovered him through Twitter. His name is Jaden Smith. Jaden Smith. And as I began to peruse his various tweeterings, I began to see a wise wordsmith who has mastered the art of metaphor and is using it to change the world. But I also noticed quite a few people who obviously don't watch the show and couldn't quite grasp the hidden meanings behind all of his tweeterings, so I thought in this episode I'd just take you through a few of them. So first of all, if a bookstore never runs out of a certain book, does that mean that nobody reads it, or everybody reads it? You see, it seems like he's just talking about a bookstore, but actually he's making a very valid point about perception. By the way, perception is the way that you perceive things, and he's actually challenged. If you read between the lines, there's a challenge in here. Next time you're looking at a tree, don't just instantly think that tree's there because everyone loves it. Maybe it's because everyone hates it. If newborn babies could speak, they would be the most intelligent beings on the planet. I've actually done some research into this because, as you know, science is one of my many passions, obviously quite behind literature. But a baby's brain is actually a lot better at taking in information than ours are, because it's a new brain, and obviously new things are better. But furthermore, there's always multiple interpretations, people, remember this. He could also be saying that if you're talking to your murderer friends, you're like planning a murderer, and you see a baby there, you don't whisper, do you? Because it doesn't understand. But if it could speak, it would be Water in the eyes and alcohol in the eyes are pretty much the same. I know this from first-hand experience. This is actually a very unusual tweeterings from Jaden because it's a literal one. He literally means water in the eyes. If you splash enough water in your eye, it will look like you're crying. If you splash alcohol in your eye, you will cry because it's painful. They're the same, and this links into his other tweets. Perception. If someone looks at you and you spilt water on your eyes, they might be like, oh, are you alright? And if you spill alcohol in your eyes and you're crying, they'll have the same response, because to them, it's the same thing, even though to you, one of them is a lot more serious. It's like Schrodinger's cat. But I obviously don't need to go over that, because we've all seen that episode of The Big Bang Theory. So, to coin a bit of a cliché, or as I like to say, quiche, bit of English humour there, don't judge a person crying by their face. Judge it by whether they're holding a bottle of alcohol or not. People think a relationship makes you whole, that it's two 50% coming together to make 100%, when it should be two 100% making 200%. Because if you're relying on them for 50% of who you are, that is an incredible amount of pressure on them. So what he's saying is, before you start looking for a relationship, better yourself, immerse yourself in the arts, history, English, science, music. Not dubstep, like classical music and that sort of stuff. When you live your whole life in a prison, freedom can be so dull. What's comfortable and what's right for you isn't necessarily what's comfortable and right for your neighbour. So enjoy yourself, do what you love, but don't force that on other people because they know what they love. You can discover everything you need to know about everything by looking at your hands. Class, raise your hands and look at them until you know everything about everything, and then you may put them down. So, ready? Begin. Done. Don't worry, it might take you a bit longer. You taught me how to play the piano, but have never heard me. The piano is a metaphor, and as we know, when I say metaphor, it means it represents life. You taught me how to life, but have never heard me. I don't know if this is directed to an actual teacher, or to his father, or to someone else perhaps, but he obviously has a huge amount of respect for them for teaching him all they know, yet they don't listen to him. He feels like he has something to offer, but their ears are closed to it, and that turns the sun dark to his eyes. Don't worry, Bay. I'll talk to you about space-time over FaceTime. This is a gift in the modern age, that I can talk to you, I can impart my wisdom to you, from the comfort of my own library. He realises the power of the internet, especially for spreading our love of the arts, science, history, music, literature. I just scrolled through my tweets and I started laughing. At this point in Jaden's life, he was having a bit of a personal identity crisis. He didn't know who he was anymore. And as he looked through his tweeterings, which by the way have all been on point so far, he couldn't see himself anymore. And that made him laugh. Perhaps the laughter here is an example of the psychological phenomenon of a reaction formation. So he's actually feeling sad, but all he can do is laugh. And that is incredibly, incredibly deep. Look around. What's going on? So I feel like from these examples you might be starting to understand how you can read between the lines, as it were, of specifically Jaden's tweeterings, but anyone's really. It's just a transferable skill. But I'll leave you with one more, just so you definitely understand. So, if I die in my flannel, will you write my poems on Tyler's 5 panels and Jesus's sandals? This plane is just too much to handle. If I die... No, I'm sorry, that is just a load of rubbish. Honestly, what is that?